a slightly left field question, just in regards to sustainability and the environmental practices that will come alongside this. If a business is looking at making the transition to Windows 11 from Windows 10, if they choose to work with an MSP like ourselves, for example, how do we ensure that old devices are disposed of correctly so that the upgrade process isn't causing any sustainability issues or disposing of electronic materials that in a way that is improper, essentially?
Yeah, good question. So we work with a recycling partner who effectively can collect the hardware in some cases, and some partners do this. If the device does still have a value in terms of its specification on a kind of a case-by-case basis, you can get some money returned to you. These partners essentially exist to do exactly that, Ben, right? They're looking to repurpose hardware. Sometimes it's for charities or other organisations, not for profits, or even better still, kind of other countries that may not have access to the modern technology that we have. They get distributed out. They'll sometimes put on open source operating systems like Linux, for example. They can turn the device into a compliant kind of non-Windows 11 version, basically, to support sustainability targets. Yeah, and obviously by then taking a more modern device, things like charging and the docking stations are all centered around USB-C now. So going forward, similar to your phones, standardization of charging ports and things like that means that you are contributing to a more sustainable future by having modern hardware from now, rather than having to buy additional chargers and accessories, etc. as well.
Brilliant. I think it's always good to understand the sustainability impacts. I know that there's been a lot of conversation at the moment around the sustainability issues that have been brought about by AI platforms. So it's just looking at how businesses can reduce that as much as possible, I suppose. So yeah, that's really helpful, Dan. Thank you.
Another point we made just on sustainability as well is another viable option is repurposing the same hardware, essentially turning it into a thin client, and then using something like Windows 365 or Azure Virtual Desktop. Effectively, the device just becomes a screen, keyboard, and mouse for a virtual compute instance. So I'm actually using one now. So I'm using Windows 365 on my own device.
Okay.
So I'm accessing HAYNE securely and having this team session on a cloud PC. Effectively, again, subject to certain hardware specifications. Generally speaking, though, most devices, kind of within the last kind of 7 or 8 years, can be turned into running either an open source operating system or an open source one which allows things like Windows 365 and AVD to run in almost a thin client way. Kind of what we used to from the kind of 90s and 2000s onwards. So we've almost done a bit of a complete circle.
And that's completely secure, is it? And there's no threats there necessarily that wouldn't be there from the opposing option.
Yeah, again, it depends on the solution. So there's a company called iGel, for example, who have a secure thin client operating system which can be managed, designed to do exactly what we're just saying here, essentially repurpose a device and then allow it secure access into a cloud-based operating system environment such as Windows 11 in Windows 365 or Azure Virtual Desktop.